Congratulations. Your new above-ground pool is an investment which will provide you and your family with many years of fun and fitness in your own backyard. The following video will demonstrate the ease with which you can install your own pool. It is intended to supplement your owner's manual. While you may notice some differences in appearance or features between your pool and the one shown on the video, the installation will always follow the same general procedure. Always consult your instruction manual for specific information concerning your pool. Try to keep in mind particularly critical points which are covered in the video and the manual to eliminate any possibility of error. You do not need any specialized tools to install your new pool. Only a shovel, rake, screwdriver, straight 2x4, a stake or stakes, tape measure, a can of spray paint, an awl, punch or large skewer, and a carpenter's level. We think you'll find the following video simple yet detailed enough to assure success. The choice for the location of your pool is probably the most important decision to make when deciding to install a pool. The instruction manual contains a planning guide which will help you to make that decision. Among the principal factors you will have to consider are municipal bylaws concerning the distance between the swimming pool and your fence or property line, overhead wires, underground water, gas, or telephone utilities, and other points discussed in your instruction manual. Now that you have selected the most appropriate spot to set up your pool, we can begin mapping out the pattern on the lawn area. Measure in from the outer perimeter, the radius, to determine the approximate center of the pool, plus an additional 6 inches for clearance. The pool being installed is a 15-foot diameter. Therefore, the distance in from the outer perimeter would be half the diameter, or 7.5 feet, plus an extra 6 inches for a total of 8 feet. Insert a stake into the ground in this spot, which will now represent the center of the pool. Now, with a measuring tape, pivoting from the stake, measure out 8 feet again and begin marking the pool circumference with a can of spray paint. Once this has been done, you will be able to evaluate the exact location you have chosen. Should you have any doubts, now is the time to make any adjustments. With the pattern of the pool now satisfactorily outlined, it's time to remove all the grass encompassing that area. With a shovel, you should now cut along the painted circumference of the pool area. Then cut the grass into strips, approximately 16 inches wide. Start at one end of the strip and begin rolling up the grass to a manageable size and remove from the pool area. You may wish to use this sod elsewhere on your property. Pools should always be installed on level ground. Of course, this is not always possible, and this particular installation is no exception. The property pictured here slopes toward the side fence, which means that a certain amount of digging will be required to obtain a level base. Always determine the lowest point of the pool area and level to this point. Low ground must never be built up in order to level the surface. To do so could cause future problems for the stability of the pool. To determine the amount of soil to be removed, relocate the center of the pool and hammer a stake into the ground. Using a 2x4 and a carpenter's level, place the 2x4 on the stake and go to the lowest section of the pool area. Ensure that the 2x4 is level and take a measurement. You will notice in this particular installation there's approximately 2 inches from the top of the 2x4 to the ground surface. As you turn the plank in a complete circle, like the hands of a clock, you will detect high and low spots. Place the carpenter's level on the plank and swing it around in the same manner. This will indicate how much digging will have to be done. At the high end of the pool site, we're removing approximately 2 inches of soil, slowly tapering off until we reach the other end of the pool. When you have removed the necessary soil and leveled the ground all the way around, a little extra time should be spent making the surface smooth and removing any stones, roots, or other objects that may be hazardous to the liner. At this time, if you live in an area such as Florida, Where nutgrass or Bermuda grass can be a problem, you should apply an approved herbicide following the instructions of your dealer. Now that you have determined that the pool site is level, it's time to open up all of the swimming pool cartons that contain the parts for your specific pool. Remove the parts from the carton and lay them out neatly in a safe spot. Refer to your instruction manual for the size and model of the pool you have purchased. The carton will contain a complete parts list to check against. Lay the square bottom rails and base plates around the circumference of your pool. By laying the bottom rails and the base plates around the bottom of the pool, you will know where the patio stones should be placed. At this time also, you should unfold the liner and lay it in the sun in a secure spot. This will help to remove any wrinkles. We suggest that you place a patio stone under each vertical for extra stability. The main objective is to make sure that the entire structure of the pool is sitting on as firm a base as possible. Great care should be taken when leveling the patio stones, because it is an extremely important phase of the installation. Once the rest of the patio stones have been placed and leveled with the surrounding earth, use a 2x4 plank to check the level of each stone to the next stone. A little extra time taken at this stage will ensure a firm and level foundation. Now that you have prepared a level and firm foundation to erect your pool on, you can start assembling the bottom rails and base plates. With the base plate centered on the patio stones, simply slide the bottom rail into the base plate, as shown here. Adjust the gap between each bottom rail to approximately 1/2 inch. Complete this procedure with the balance of the bottom rails and base plates. You may notice that the base plates of your pool appear to be different from those shown here. This is nothing to be concerned with, as the style of the base plate can differ with each model of pool. Your instruction manual will assist you in identifying the proper base plate used. Now it is time to bring in the brick sand. Spread the sand evenly to a uniform depth of 2 inches. This is important to provide a protective base on the bottom of the pool for the liner to rest on. Don't spread the sand right to the bottom rail at this stage, or it will interfere with the wall installation. We are now ready to erect the wall of your swimming pool. The wall should be erected on a calm day when the wind is not blowing strongly. Remove the wall from the carton, making sure you remember which end is up. The reason for this is that the knockout section for the skimmer is located in the upper section of the wall. Carry the wall to the center of the pool and place it on a piece of plywood. Cut the string and begin unrolling the wall. You will soon see the knockout section referred to earlier, and you must decide the most logical spot to have your skimmer, filter, and pump located. The wall must start at the center of one of the base plates, because you will want to conceal the joint behind one of the verticals. Before placing the wall in position, ask a neighbor or two for assistance. It is suggested that someone hold the wall firmly in the starting position while the wall is being placed into the bottom rail. Once you have about 1/3 of the wall in place, go back to your starting position and slide the slotted stabilizer tubing onto the top edge of the wall. The stabilizer tubing is joined together with a short tube connector as you go. By following this procedure, the wall will be much more manageable to handle as you slide the rest of it in place. When you have uncoiled the entire wall, you may find that the wall ends overlap too much, or there may be a gap. This is not a problem. The adjustment is made by increasing or decreasing the space separating the bottom rails in the base plates. This is done by gently tapping the base plates from the outside if you are closing up the gap, or, should the ends of the wall overlap, by tapping the base plates from the inside, increasing the spacing of the bottom rails in the base plates. Once you have tapped some of the base plates, gently shake the wall in the appropriate direction until the holes in the wall ends line up exactly. You can see this installer has just adjusted the gap very easily, and so can you. Place the plastic sleeves on the bolts, and using a screwdriver through one of the holes to maintain alignment, insert the bolts from the inside of the wall and attach the nuts on the outside. Make sure there are bolts in all of the holes. Tighten the bolts securely and cover the heads of the bolts with several layers of duct tape to serve as protection for the liner. The final length of slotted tubing is installed at this point. The wall should be level around the pool. If it is not, remove the wall and re-level the base frame. Remove the plywood and rake the sand toward the perimeter, again removing any stones which could cut the liner. Construct a cove 8 inches high of sifted topsoil to support the liner and prevent it from creeping under the wall and coming into contact with the sharp edges of the bottom frame. The cove is a very important element of your pool and is critical to prevent liner failure. Once you have completed the cove, rake the pool base smooth again. Before installing the liner, it may be helpful to tape the slotted tubing and connectors to hold them in position. Bring the liner into position, smooth side down, and drape over the wall, trying not to disturb the sand base in doing so. Once you have unfolded the entire liner, drape approximately 12 inches of the top section of the liner over the wall and hold it temporarily in place with one of the 4-foot lengths of flexible plastic coping. Notice how easily the coping is put in place. As you can see, the coping holds the liner in place as it is gently draped over the remainder of the pool wall. You should ensure that the liner overlap is evenly spaced around the wall. Before continuing with any further liner adjusting, tape over the skimmer hole with duct tape. The reason for this will be explained momentarily. Now go to the return fitting hole with both the tape and your household vacuum. Measure from the return hole to about 12 inches above the ground using the vacuum hose. Then insert the hose into the hole up to the length at which you arrived. Tape the hose securely in this position, making sure to seal around the hose and turn the vacuum on. What this is actually doing is drawing out the air between the pool wall and the liner. As the vacuum is running, take a soft bristle broom and tap the liner on the lower portion against the wall just above the cove. This will help bring the liner tighter to the wall and center it in the pool. It may be necessary to drape more liner over the wall after doing this exercise. However, this is just a matter of removing the coping, pulling any excess liner material taut, and putting the coping on again. Don't be afraid to spend as much time as necessary to adjust the liner to eliminate wrinkles. When the coping has been repositioned, make sure that the ends butt up against each other and cut off any excess to avoid overlapping. Once this stage is completed, you can begin filling the pool with water. Leave the vacuum running until the water has reached 6 to 8 inches in depth. Make sure the vacuum you are using is properly grounded and is not operated on damp or wet ground. Great care should be taken when operating electrical equipment near water. As the pool is filling with water, roll the excess liner material up towards the coping and tape it in place. Continue this all around the pool. When the top rail is put in place, it will cover the material so it will not be seen and give a finished appearance. The next step is the assembling of the vertical supports. The support is assembled from bottom to top. Position the vertical outside the tabs of the bottom plate and fasten with self-tapping screws which are supplied. Now the top plate will hook over the coping, and the tabs in this case are positioned on the outside of the vertical. Once again, using the self-tapping screws, secure the top plate to the vertical. The vertical should be perfectly upright. This can be checked with either a level or by running your finger along the side of the vertical parallel with the corrugation of the wall. Certain pool models also require an additional support plate to be placed on top of the top plate to provide extra strength and stability to the top rail. Be sure to check to see if your pool is supplied with these support plates before continuing. As soon as all of the verticals and top plates are fastened in place, you can proceed with the installation of the top rails. The top rails have been pre-punched to line up with the holes in the top plate and are fastened with self-tapping screws. Your pool may require either 2 or 3 screws at each end of the top rail. In case minor adjustments are necessary, it is suggested that all the top rails be fastened loosely until they are all in position. Once satisfied with the positioning of the top rails, they can then be tightened in place, and you can carry on with the next step, which is the connectors. The top connector's purpose is primarily to cover the gap between the ends of each top rail and enhance the appearance of the pool. The one-piece molded connector is applied by hooking the tabs under the bottom edge of the top rail on the inside of the pool. The front tabs are then bent down and over the bottom edge of the top rail on the outside of the pool. If your pool comes with 2-piece connectors for the round or straight sides of the pool, the inner piece easily hooks under the bottom edge of the top rail on the inside of the pool. The outer connector has been made to slide over the inner connector and is additionally held in place on the upright by 1 or more self-tapping screws. Some connectors have a prong on the inside surface between the 2 screw holes, which fits into a central locating hole on the upright to assist in lining up the connector on the vertical. Once again, certain components differ from one model of pool to another, and your instruction manual will clarify any uncertainties. Continue filling the pool to approximately 1 inch below the return hole. This will ensure that the liner is tight against the wall when you make your cuts for the skimmer and return. Remove the tape from the square skimmer hole and put the skimmer sealer through the hole so that it shields the inside hole all the way around. By running your finger along the outside perimeter of the opening, you will be able to locate where the pre-punched holes are. As you do this, shove an awl through the hole and through the liner. Mount the white plastic skimmer faceplate and gasket on the inside of the pool. Push the self-tapping screws through the faceplate and into the holes of the skimmer housing. When this is finished and the screws have been tightened all around, use a sharp knife and carefully cut out the liner material within the skimmer hole area. Be careful not to cut the skimmer sealer. After about a week, the gaskets will have seated themselves properly, and it is recommended that the screws be retightened. The return fitting is next to be put in place. Carefully cut out the liner material within the round return fitting hole. Put one of the gaskets on the fitting, and from the inside of the pool, shove it through the hole. Slide the other gasket over the fitting from the outside and then tighten the fitting collar in place. Next, attach the filter and pump following the manufacturer's instructions. The pump and filter should be positioned on a patio stone for support. Now the water level in the pool should be brought up to approximately the center of the skimmer hole or faceplate. This is the level that should be maintained for proper circulation. Well now, that wasn't as difficult as you might have imagined, was it? The installation you have just seen was a typical one. The swimming pool you wish to install may look a little different than this, and your location may also differ. However, the basic fundamentals of installation principles will not vary from what you have seen here today. Allowing for some time and patience, you and your family will soon be swimming in your own pool. Above-ground pools can provide years of pleasurable fun and enjoyment for the entire family, but certain important safety rules must be followed. Although the depth of water should not exceed 3.5 feet, supervision of children is still necessary. Never dive or jump into an above-ground pool. This means from the top rail, a ladder, a deck, or anything else that might serve as a launching area. Serious injury can be the result of this type of careless behavior. We urge you and your family to refrain from any activity of this nature, and be sure you inform other people who may wish to use your pool. Following these simple rules will provide your family with years of fun and enjoyment.